Good morning, and it's Tuesday, which means it's time again to continue on with our Rust game. Let's go take a look at where we are with that. I was actually taking a look last night because I was able to hang out with Dan, who, if you've seen, there was a video that I did with him a while back when we first started this project. He's one of my mentors, and so I was able to hang out with him and chat about the application, chat about Rust in general, and I thought it was sort of like a good refresher also for me for today. So what we did last time was we created the test for placing the bot on the grid on the first turn, but we haven't actually placed the bot on the grid. So if we now open up the terminal, I'm going to go ahead and share this link out in case anybody wants to go like download that, get the code, also share it out the end too. So let's open up the terminal here and head into. Also, I know that the heater turned on, so I am actually going to go turn off the heater really quickly. Turning off heater. I'll be right back. All right, I turned it off. Hey, Miguel. You connected your heater to your PC. No, not. That would be actually really good. I'm actually thinking that would be a great IoT project, is to connect the thermostat to some kind of Raspberry Pi or something, so that way I can detect if I'm streaming and then turn that off. Because that I keep on forgetting to turn off, and it gets really cold out here. Although it's not as cold as the East Coast, it's still it's still freezing right now. All right, so let's see where we were. Let's go into code, mine brcodegg. We'll open up code here, and in the main library, we left this comment, which was, if the turn is 0 and the bot gets to choose, the bot then gets to choose its starting position. And then in bot, we have, or actually the bot itself in JavaScript is choosing its starting location if it's turn 0 at position 5,5. And then finally, in the bot itself, we're running no, that's the test. Well, I guess the test is fine. We're running the run bot function, and it's now getting out the data where it's going to be, and we're actually testing, and these tests, I believe, passed. So we could verify that really quickly. Cargo test. Yeah, so perfect. Everything is working as expected. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing some IoT stuff. Not necessarily anything like really big, but small little projects that could help around the house. I do know somebody in town who has pretty much fully automated their house to the point where it will announce on their TV whenever a friend of theirs that they know is walking up to the door, and potentially unlocks it just for them. I'm not planning on going that far. Okay, so if we have this test, that means that the bot is now, we now know the appropriate point for it. So I'm thinking in the main library for update, we could probably just console log out what the location is to sort of double check. Is it in the grid now? Well, I guess that's a good question, because we update the bot. We're giving it self turn number. Does the bot get the grid? Gets the grid width and grid height, but it doesn't get the grid itself. Oh, I think this might be the next thing, is because we're not giving the grid. All we're doing is giving it a turn number at this point in time, and we need to get the grid to the bot so it can actually update the grid. That's what we need to do. So should the bot do that? Or should this main game library do that? Because we can get the new turn, what we want to do out of here. All right, I have the grid with this grid. So I could hand it to that. In bot, in update, we might want to also get the game grid. So use, is it, what did it call this? Game grid. Okay, so of course it's not being used right now, but I can now say I want to bring in the grid, or the game grid, which is type game grid. And that brings in the next problem, which is if I want to serialize this to give the rest of the game grid in there, would I potentially instead want, okay, so I think that's what I was thinking about is, do I want to store a reference to the game grid here in the bot structure itself, so that when we serialize it, it's the entire game grid? Or do I want another structure, which is going to be the data that's being sent to the bot, and then that's what we care about. Right now, it's going to be small enough that I can send everything on the game grid, and in the future, it might be things where we only want to send a radius around the bot. But I think right now sending everything is fine. I don't know if it was going to be easy to just add in game grid and this be a reference to a game grid, because this is going to have to now be lifetimes. The trait bound game grid bot survey serialize is not satisfied. The trait, okay, so do I need to add in derive serialize? Okay, so if I add that into game grid, yeah, that might be interesting to sort of play around with, see what happens. Okay, so in game grid here, let's do a derive. Nope, I did not save that. Serialize. Deserialize is not satisfied now. The trait bound game grid, but deserialize. Oh, for like this unknown. Do I have to? How did I do it for the other one? The bot itself just has this derive serialize deserialize. Did I misspell it or something? Nope, I did not. This one's going to be a needed lifetime specifier, but we just need this to first work. Okay, so part of it I think is because it doesn't like this unknown. That's an odd, that's not a thing. That looks like a lifetime. Like it's a lifetime of a catch-all. Now, do I need... Do I need, when I serialize, when I renbot command result the standard out sorted JSON from slice. Okay, and I'm saying the I'm saying the location is going to be a point. Oh, that's an anonymous lifetime. Okay, so that's one of the new things. Oh, that's interesting. So it's saying that it's having a problem because it needs an anonymous lifetime for its for the entire serialization thing. Probably because I'm asking it to serialize a reference, which that could be an interesting problem. And I don't want to necessarily clone the entire game grid. Although, I mean, in a way, I'm kind of doing that with the serialize, because that's going to turn it into a string, which takes up just as much memory, I think, because it's all the same bits. But one of these things is this location, it's coming from point. So it's saying that I'm expecting a point back in a deserialize. But, ooh, I'm not sure. Not implemented. Help. The following implementations were found: game grid as bot, serde deserialize, DE. Hold on, I want to run this so I can see it properly. And you're upset there. Okay. So cargo test. All right, so that's a fine. Okay. Expected lifetime parameter, we expected that one. Oh wait, that's the only errors? Okay, so it cares more about this lifetime parameter first. So let's see if I can remember how to do that off the top of my head, because I'm guessing I don't. In bot, we have this public struct bot here, and we're going to want to have a lifetime of A, and then set that this is going to be a lifetime of A for game grid. No, that was not the exact way. Okay, let's go into Rustlang. Rustlang struct reference lifetime. Really? Thank you, Firefox. This might be completely false, but I believe the anonymous lifetime is to some level implicit. I recall it being a convenient shortcut to implement the lifetime without specifying it everywhere in the struct, but for accurate info, you'd probably want to read the docs. Yeah, I haven't read like much about what the new stuff did. Firefox, are you coming back? I told you to restart. No? Okay. I guess it would be advanced lifetimes. Oh, can I? Okay. I think it might be better to do Rustlang by example struct lifetime. Oh yeah, here's the anonymous lifetime now, the edition guide. I'm sort of sad that that search didn't bring up exactly what we wanted. Also, you need to be dark. Okay, so Rust allows us to explicitly mark where a lifetime is elided. For types where this elision might otherwise be unclear, okay, so if we have a struct, I got the mute on just in time. Okay, so we have this structure. It has this lifetime of A. Oh, I don't need the turbofish syntax. That's what I got wrong. It's just the little single quote A. In Rust 2015, we would write that entire thing. In 2018, so we only need it on one side. Is that the suggestion? So I don't need you, but instead you. All right, let's see what the real debugger says. That made it significantly more unhappy. Oh wow, it adds many more bugs. Okay. Oh, this is a reserved lifetime name. I can't add it myself. And then everywhere I'm implementing it, it's saying, nope, can't do it. So is it telling me that I'm not allowed to do this on my own? That it wants me to instead use something like this, and then I can go A like that. But now I need a lifetime parameter wherever I implement the bot. Okay. Oh no, that's fine because I'm implementing off of a lifetime thing. So that makes sense too. So on the implement bot, I think it's right here. Can I now say like that? Missing lifetime specifier on line 21. Oh, with function new. So I think that worked. Okay, so then in here, it wants new, because it's a new bot. The new bot has its own lifetime thing. Where do I put this? Is it? Well, yeah, I was hoping to do that. I got more errors though when I tried the implicit lifetime. Do we have an actual struct though? Because this is just a wrapper around the string. Okay, so here's this. Implement foo. Okay. This is the same because each a fresh lifetime generated. Okay, so that it would make sense for me to work that way. Like I would want this to be oh wait. Okay, I get it now. I was expecting they also have to put it on the struct, but I don't. This can be ignored. This can be ignored. We just put it on the bot, the implementations. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Maybe. Okay, so use create bot, no bot in bot. Did you mean to use bow? No. Okay. Use create bot in standard live rs12. Did I delete? No, bot is still here. Oh, wait. I deleted the bot. Silly me. So of course I didn't mean bow. It thinks of course I did. All right, missing lifetime specifier, bot rs line 17, game grid, expected lifetime parameter here. So I was kind of hoping, this is line 17. Right here. I was kind of hoping that this would essentially do that lifetime parameter for me, which we see in the implementation here, where like A, B, and A. Do I need to essentially do this for, because implement foo, they put these two in here for these two. Because it's field A and B. Do I need like one for each of these now? For it to know that this one is meant for it? Like, I don't think it would make sense to have to do this, right? And have to do this for every single number of these that I'm using. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I could try it. I can't imagine this will work. Unexpected lifetime parameter. Or expected lifetime parameter. Well, yeah, I figured that was because the A and B's, but yep, didn't like those. But it still wants me to give a lifetime parameter here for this bot. So this is it's not happy with me implementing this right here. It wants me to put this. Can I do this? Just like that. Missing lifetime specifier still. Okay. Yeah, so it wants this to be an actual lifetime parameter. All right, we get it. We'll add that in there next. Yeah, so struct bot, then we'll add in lifetime parameter like this. Good morning, Danny. Yeah, I know. Compiler lifetime suggestions. The reason why we're playing around with this is because I need to figure out some way to have the game grid be passed to the bot whenever I run it. But the problem is that I don't necessarily want to clone the bot all the time. So if I just had a copy of I just had a reference to the bot in the structure, when I serialize it, everything will be good. But right now it's a little bit upset of me because I'm trying to add in this this reference to the grid. And okay, so it's a reserved lifetime name. It says I can't do this here. Oh, Danny, yeah, you may not have heard that in the latest version, Miguel was explaining to us that there is this new anonymous lifetime. Minimum Rust version 1.31. Do I? Maybe another, let's see. What is it? It's Rust up show. That's what it is. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, I've got 1.32, so I've got the right version. And they have this idea that if I have this struct that has like a lifetime of A, I would have to do this. But now, oh, this is on the return. Okay. So if I could do that in a return, skip you there, put in the anonymous lifetime in the implementation, and also the anonymous lifetime here. Well, is there no getting around that? I was hoping that I could get around it. Okay, so it wants a very specific lifetime. I guess I was just kind of hoping that I could do something like this, where we have this struct and we don't have to do any of the lifetimes here because we do the lifetime in the implementation as implement foo blah. But or are they trying to say that I still need this this lifetime is up here and I don't need to do it down here? Maybe that's what they're saying. Oh, okay. The documentation that documentation feels a little bit odd. All right, so I need A here. I'm going to put in A here. Then down here, it's implement. And now I could use just this. Let's see if this is slightly happier. I still got that other problem. Missing lifetimes. Okay, so we do need the lifetime specifier here. I wonder if I can do that down here. Okay, so we need an explicit lifetime. Do I need to set this up as like what an A is? Yeah, because undeclared lifetime A. So unfortunately, I still need, okay, implement foo. Okay, so implement, this one still needs to be an A. Oh no, okay, so this is underscore. Do I need to set it here on the public function? Yeah, I guess like where does this lifetime, where do I set that up? Okay, I need to, let's go back to Rustlang, by example, lifetime. Let's see how we did it originally. In a struct. Okay, so we have our struct. We have this type of lifetime that's being used here. Oh, they don't have the functions attached to them. Methods maybe. Okay, so struct owner, add one. We add one right after the function name. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Add one right after the function name. Does that, so because obviously I'm just continuing to try this over and over and over again, can I do this? A reserved lifetime name. So no, I cannot do that. This also needs to be a specific lifetime name. So like that. Then we'll say that you were that. All right, so slowly making some of the red go away. Okay, so missing lifetime specifier here in librs line 27, expected lifetime parameter when we're now getting the vector of the bots. Okay, so lifetime parameter in a bots, that's librs line 27 right here. So now I'm just like forever gonna always try the underscore first just to see if it's happier. Or if I'm gonna constantly get, oh no, that's a custom name. It's a reserved name. Yeah, expected lifetime parameter as opposed to what I gave it. Okay, so you are now going to be A. But of course, I can't be A because it's undeclared. So public struct main state, this now has to be an A. Which means in implement main state, you apparently can be an underscore. But you need to not be an underscore. And then down here, implement emit. Okay, so I think you could be another underscore. And then bot.update. This oh, right, because now this function takes 2 parameters because I said that update takes the game grid, but I don't think that's necessary anymore because we're just going to hand it a reference to the game grid at the very beginning. Okay, so you're happy there. Bot missing field game, right? So now we need to add in the game grid. Now this is also upset because it's the deserialize for that is not satisfied. Oh, that there is a lifetime for DE. When I need to add this into the implementations, the derive, game grid is posture deserialize DE. Interesting. Okay. Let's first fix this. So if we take in, it's going to be a reference, or rather it's going to be, okay, so game grid. It's going to be a reference to the game grid. Now this is probably going to yell at me because I need a lifetime okay, no, never mind. It won't yell at me because I'm doing that. Wandable, thank you for the host. Okay, so if I have the game grid, then we just add in the game grid. Explicit lifetime required in a type of game grid. Lifetime A required. Does that mean right here? Yeah, it does. Okay. So that solves that problem. We have some more down here. Bot new. Right, because now it's saying this function takes 3 parameters, but 2 were given. This is, I see that this is a potential problem because it's now I'm having to test the game grid in here too, which is that's really annoying. That looks correct too. Bot has to live as long as the game grid is passed in. Right, yeah. Definitely it has to live that long. And we want it to live that long. So we are overcomplicating things for our testing now though. Because we've added in an external thing to rely upon. And this is starting to make me wonder if I'm going down the wrong path here, because the bot is being complicated, and it might be better if I had another structure that was just going to be turned into the JSON, and it wasn't necessarily the bot itself, but so like a temporary structure that I could create right then just turn into JSON. And at that point, I could hand put the game grid in there. Now, I still have this problem, which is the trait bound for this. I'm not seeing that problem here, though. So I do. Oh, now I am. Okay. The trait bot serde serialize is not implemented for game grid piece. Oh, right, because I have like the piece needs to be. Okay, I get it now. The error message I was getting before was not necessarily the best. I guess we could try this really quickly and then see what happens with it, but I foresee problems where it's saying, hey, I now need a game grid for this. Like, so I need to say let game grid equals game grid new, like 10, 10. Game grid. Reference to it, of course. Okay, so let's try this again. We'll just copy you and give a reference to the game grid, and copy you and give a reference to the game grid. Okay, so we have, now you're just yelling about that, but we'll get to you in a second. Now you should be upset because I'm not passing in the game grid, but we actually have the game grid now available for us. So new game grid width, so this is going to be a reference to self. Do I have the game? Oh no, I do. I just have the game grid here. Okay, so you're slightly less upset there. Okay, just that one error. Let's isolate to one error. Okay, slightly more than one error. I think it's all essentially one error, but repeated over and over again. So it's the trait bot serde deserialize for anonymous lifetime is not implemented for lifetime of a game grid. Okay, so game grid needs to have deserialize. So that's in here. Game grid has deserialize, but the problem is, does it handle the lifetime? And we don't know that for certain. Okay, this game grid also needs to be added in for piece. So if I take you and I copy it and we go into piece, so partial equal debug serialize deserialize, will we get less errors or more? Slightly less, but I foresee the problem that deserialize with anonymous lifetime is not implemented for a game grid because we have deserialize without anonymous lifetime. In fact, that's the only error now, is just this right here. Can I don't think that works, right? Yeah, it's like nope. We don't want you to do that. So does this mean I'm gonna now have to have an implementation for that to put the lifetime in there and essentially copy the implementation or write my own? Because that would not be good. Does the bot struct need a reference or a copy at all? In the end, the server has its own ref to the game grid and receives information from the bot. It checks if it's valid, handles it, and returns back. Yeah, I'll have to do a custom deserialize. Well, yeah, I wouldn't really want it to be a pointer, would I? I would want it to be actually brought in. So this... Yeah, both of you are correct in that I don't think that I really want to be doing this. So let's spend the rest of today figuring out what I do want to do. So we don't really want to put the game grid in a bot. The bot, while we do kind of want, you'd pass the game grid by value. So you would clone the game grid. So if we do this game grid and we just have it be a full game grid, so we don't need this lifetime either, you'd clone it. I'll probably have to put that serialize and deserialize back again then. All right, so all of these lifetimes can go away because we don't need them anymore. You can all go away. You can go away. It's just gonna be a full game grid. Now I don't know if we've implemented clone or derived clone, but we can add that in too. We have the game grid coming in here, down here. This is a reference to a game grid, so we could essentially copy you, just take off the reference part, save that. All right, so no errors there. Library, there's gonna be an error because we don't want this ampersand. Get rid of you. And we don't need this lifetime anymore. Get rid of you. And we don't need you anonymous lifetime anymore. Get rid of you. And don't need you. So we have, all right, public grid hash map. Serialize is not satisfied. Well, oh, for hash map? Oh no, for piece. Okay, so now here's where we bring this in. We need serialize and deserialize, and we'll add this in right here. And that should make you happy now. Okay, everybody should be happy. Except you. Game grid, use of moved value. Right, because now we have a moved value here. Can we clone? So can I essentially do this? I want to clone it when we're giving the height. Well, okay, so game grid height, game grid width. Where is game grid? Okay, game grid, we're creating right there. We're getting the width out, we're getting the height out, and then we're moving it here. Interesting, I didn't think it was moved at this point in time. I thought it'd be moved here. But I guess like height is moved. But let's try this. So let game grid copy equals game grid dot clone. Now, do we have a clone? No. No method named clone for this. The following trait defines a clone. So just clone. Okay, so let's go to mod and we'll add in derive clone. We'll probably have to also derive the clone of the piece. Oh, it's in a for loop for the game grid parameter. That could be it, yeah. So now piece needs to have a clone too. And so now in game grid, right, because we're looping through this, and right here we're giving away, we're moving game grid out. So we need to do the copy in here, don't we? In for loop. That's what we need to do. So inside of here, we have game grid copy as a game grid clone. Then we want to use the game grid Can we do this? Game grid copy. Yeah, that'll be happier. All right, no errors, just a bunch of warnings. And of course, Well, that worked. And our serialize is now actually showing the game grid in here. So if we take a look, we have our location, which has X is 50, Y is 55. So that's going to be the location of the bot itself. And we notice that that is its own sort of object in here. Then we have game grid width, game grid height, turn number, and then we have game grid, which has width and height, and then the grid itself. So I'm thinking that that allows us to simplify a little bit of the bot, because now that we have a clone of the game grid. Now, the problem is I'm cloning the game grid when I'm instantiating the bot. That's an empty game grid. It's completely useless to us. All that we care about from that is that we have the width and height, which isn't all that helpful. When we update, we need the latest everything, which is why initially I was thinking about a reference to the game grid, because that would be updated, obviously, every turn. So I think instead of storing it into the struct, we need to store something else. So in our bot, storing a game grid here as like a clone is useless in my mind. I'm thinking we need to like not store anything at all, and instead, when we update, take the game grid in here, and when we serialize the data, we need at that point in time to also add in something. Yeah, you were thinking about performance, but I realized you could create a method that clones a subpart of the grid. Yeah, especially when the grid gets really large, we would probably end up doing that. But right now, I'm thinking we probably really want to do something like maybe a custom struct that we create right here, right when we serialize the data. So instead of self-serializing the data, we do it off of the structure. Because if we think about what we need, well, essentially what we have right here. We need the location of the bot itself, which we have on self. We need to know the width and height of the game grid so that the player doesn't like chooses a spot somewhere in the grid. And we need to know the turn number. And in the future, we're going to need to know, then we're going to need to update the grid and say, okay, I want you to be like over here. And that may be, if I clone the grid, I can't update the grid anymore. So I really need to pass a reference to the grid and then run the method on it to update it. Or, as we were talking about earlier, the bot and the grid don't do the checking of whether or not it's a legal move. We could have the game do that itself. So I could just say, okay, bot, update. Tell us what you want to do. In this case, early on, we're just getting the new location. We return that. So instead of update, we just change this to like get turn, like take turn. We pass it the game grid so that it can know what to do. And it could be a clone of the game grid. It can't do anything off that game grid though. Instead, it returns its new location of where it's going to be. Back in library, when we update this, we get the result out here. So we grab the new location, and then we check to see, is it legal? If it is legal, we change it in the grid. And if it's not legal, we either do nothing or remove the bot from the grid and essentially tell the bot that it's been killed. I think that might be the answer to go here. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. So okay, so if the turn is 0, the bot gets to choose. That's true, but let's add another comment here to sort of give us more information, which is also the logic for the move, the turn happens here, as in the bot will choose a location and the library will determine if that move is legal. Legal. I was thinking custom deserializer was about to get really painful, and committing to one of those wasn't the right time right now. Later you can switch it back to a reference and write the deserializer when you determine it uses too much memory. Yeah, that's true too. Also, if I wanted to do a custom deserializer and serializer, what it'd probably end up doing would be create another structure and then just grab the elements that I want out of the whatever the like the two structures, create a new temporary one, serialize that, and pass that in. That way I sort of get the best of both worlds. Okay, the bot will choose a location, library will determine if that move is legal, and then use methods on the bot and grid to make the move. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next time. So we should spend like the last couple of minutes in here undoing what I did, which is actually pretty easy. I just come here and we'll just see what we did. Okay, so in bot.rs we have the game grid. We eventually will need this. But let's see what else we did. We have the game grid we brought in. We added the game grid to the structure bot. We don't need this. Game grid height, and this is bringing in the game grid. I'm kind of thinking I can just, yeah, I don't think we need to do this file at all. So I'm going to revert bot. Nope, revert bot there. And so now it's just back the way we started today. In the library, all right, so we have this game grid copy. I don't think we need this this copy anymore, so I can just remove this. And we have this entire game grid copy. So I want to copy you, select everything, and then remove the copy part. Save you. All right, what's different? Game grid height, oh, right, because then we still have the game grid here. So I don't need you anymore. I don't need you anymore. All right, so it's no longer different there. And all that we have different here is this comment that's telling us what we're gonna do. So I wanna keep that. In mod.rs, we have this derive, serialize, and deserialize, and that was pretty much it. Well, we added the clone, so we don't need this anymore. Revert. And in piece, we added the serialize and deserialize, and I believe clone, right? Yeah, we don't need that anymore, so discard there. So all we're keeping, the only thing we did today writing in code was a comment telling us next time what we figured out to do. And I mean, that kind of happens sometimes where we realize, okay, let's not go down a crazy path. Let's add you in. So we figured out how to how to have the bot take a turn and place itself next time implemented. Can I just, yeah, apparently it doesn't care about the warning. All right, so we'll send this on up to GitHub. The compiler will always push you into a crazy path when it suggests lifetimes. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that to me once before a while ago when I first started the Rust journey. Sort of like the idea of avoid using them whenever possible. Like there's probably a better way. All right, so we have updated everything. I will share this link out again. Okay, you can stop. There we go. All right, so here is a link to the code. You can go take a look at it. That is not a good bit rate that we had. So I probably had some weird frame loss in the middle there. So sorry about that. But it is after 7:30, so I am going to go get ready for the rest of my day. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. I plan on being back here on Thursday morning, and then we'll continue on and hopefully get closer, if not actually having a bot show up on the screen. So thank you everybody for stopping by and watching. I've been streaming regularly on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30 a.m. and Mountain Time, and I expect to continue that the rest of this week and next week. So I will tweet out if there's ever any schedule changes or if I do any other streams. But with that, I will go ahead and turn off this stream. So have a great day.